Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force, and all I have to say right now is holy crap, because we had another announcement release yesterday. I needed some time to digest it, to think about it some more, and we're going to be talking about it here today. That is going to be the reworks that are mentioned for Infestation. This is an absolute Alliance War patch for the most part, and a lot of people that have been speaking to me are a little bit concerned and are a little bit overwhelmed with how many reworks are actually coming to the game in such a short time, and whether or not they're going to well, they probably won't have the resources for this. And I think this is definitely more designed for spenders and veteran spenders as well, who might have a leg up on having these characters upgraded. Some of them are a lot trashier than others. Some of them you might have up a little bit higher than others. We're going to be talking about all this and more. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Okay, so I just want to start here, I guess, right? They did this update, or this blog post, The Masterminds of Mayhem, and it just had Scorpion, Hobgoblin, and Superior Spider-Man in the background. And what we know now is that Scorpion is going to be also included on the Infestation team. So I guess what they're kind of doing is that they're, because it's a 3-person raid team, they're going to be taking these characters and they're going to be a little bit more used on other teams, or in this case, a combination of Sinister 6, maybe a Superior 6 comeback, and then Infestation, right? So we're going to be talking about this. Also, they talk about the characters and kind of what they are going to do. Superior Spider-Man's high speed makes him a great upgrade for the Superior 6 Cosmic Crucible squad. Fine. I mean, we're leveling these characters for raids anyways, so being able to put them somewhere else is great. Scorpion possesses the Infestation trait, allowing you to upgrade this War Defense squad. I do want to point out that it is a War Defense, so you're not actually using them. And Hobgoblin adds an explosive dimension and brings the control to the Insidious 6. So I don't know the kits, right? I don't think they're listed here. So how much we're going to be using each of the characters where, I don't know. But I think, did they say that they are going to have the Sinister 6 tag as well? I think maybe not. I hope so. Theory crafting with Sinister 6. These 3 new characters bring the total to 15 characters for the Sinister 6. Okay, so I think that's confirmation. While Shocker and Vulture easily slot into these teams, there's going to be opportunities where you'll find yourself wanting another controller like Mysterio or Lizard. So I do want to start off by saying that this was one of the better times in Marvel Strike Force. I think a lot of us have pointed to that before. I think the problem is it's not just a Sinister 6 patch. This is like all these other characters, right? Including the Secret Warriors and now this Infestation upgrade. So it's not just a Sinister 6 update. It's like so many more characters. And that's, I think, where the problem lies a little bit. As far as Scorpion goes, he's a brawler, bleed to all enemies with multiple abilities, and eat away a positive effect duration. So that's, I mean, they're doing that a lot more these days. And I believe that's also on the Secret Warriors team too, whenever they take damage from bleed. So interesting stuff. Hobgoblin, I have a feeling he's going to be a lot similar to Green Goblin Classic, but how different, it'll be interesting. Flip positive effects. I mean, Green Goblin already does that. Apply random negative effects. We'll see how useful he is. And Superior Spider-Man has a high speed, gives heals whenever they attack an enemy with a negative effect, ability, energy, and positive effects. Okay, fine. It's it's a bit vague. Stat reworks across the table to a lot of characters, including Vulture, right? There's some kit stuff in here. It's not really that important. I don't think it was really that massive. There's some speed bar related stuff. Shocker got a big stat upgrade, right? And then a lot of stuff that just applied to Sinister 6 also now applies to the Insidious 6. So nothing that we really need to go over. It's just making all the characters a little bit better. And then we have some updates to Swarm. Again, stat updates. On spawn, gain 8 charges. For those who aren't familiar with Swarm, the charges is basically what he needed so that he didn't lose HP. Unless they got rid of that part, but I'm pretty sure, like Swarm, I used to use him, right? So I'm pretty sure that if charged, lose 1 charge. If not charged, he takes damage. So he needs those charges basically to keep himself from being damaged. He also gets evade per, or dodge chance per charge as well. Doc Ock also was a way to give him additional charges too, but that was very niche depending on where you use them. So that part's interesting a little bit. And actually, I'm a bit of a lover of Swarm. Spider-Man big time. Now, he was very solid standalone character because he was very fast. He had on spawn speed up, and so this made him very good. And he was able to flip basically all positive effects if they didn't have safeguard to negatives, and this was very good to get around taunters. If you use, say, Apocalypse or something to get rid of a safeguard, this combination made it very good because then you could flip the on-spawn taunt to disrupt so that they couldn't keep doing that. Now, on war defense, all speed generated by enemy controllers reduced by 50%. Now, so Kahori is a controller. Does this mean that she only gets 1 turn instead of 2 turns? That's what I'm wondering. But as far as who else this is meant for, I don't know. But Infestation was a very nasty war defense team with all the stat upgrades. It probably will be pretty crazy. Now, Ant-Man, Black Widow, and Yellow Jacket did not see any changes to their kit. Speculation that maybe Ant-Man might be removed for Scorpion, but honestly, I'm not sure. But I want to go back, right? I kind of favorited all of the characters that might see increase changes. And what I mean by that is that you might want to be upgrading them to use them. And I threw in Green Goblin Classic and Doc Ock for Crucible for those people who maybe don't have them at, maxed out gear tier 1920 or 105 and all that stuff, right? Overpower rank 10, right? I don't have, or 11. What are we up to now? I don't have that yet. And so am I going to want to take them to 105? Well, it's going to depend on Crucible, right? So Green Goblin Classic, Doc Ock, Vulture, probably Superior Spider-Man, and then like somebody else, I guess is the assumption there. Maybe Kraven will come back. He has a really nice ability block still, but he doesn't have the stat increase. So who knows? Maybe he'll chuck Swarm in there. Anyways, my point is that there's a lot of characters on the table, right? If we go back to Secret Warriors, there's a lot. Yo-Yo, Negasonic, Quake, Domino. All 4 of these characters are pretty much dog shit for me. Now, to get to 71, 75 doesn't cost that much anymore. It's literally like less than 5 million gold. It's a fraction of what it costs to get to the higher level. Right, so if we go to if I take Domino, for example, to 105, 29 million, like the bulk of it is like post 75. To get up to 75 is meaningless, and the problem is that with overpower being a thing, if you don't take them to at least 119, I think they're probably dead in the water. And you might argue that you would need 105. You need to be at almost the overpower rank 10 at least, right? Like my Spider-Man Big Time is at 9. You would get 10 from level 105, and then you get 11 from Gear Tier 20. Now, Spider-Man Big Time might be somebody that I would take up to Gear Tier 20 because he's cheap to build. He's only, and maybe this is a change for the Xavier Saga, right? With this update, he only needs 2 pieces of G20 gear, so 50-50, right? So this might be an easy upgrade with the stat reworks. This might be a very good, considerable Xavier pick that might have some benefits down the road. Now, the only problem with Big Time Spidey, I'm kind of jumping around a bit, that he is a dark promotion credit character. And even with the announcement, I'm going to hold off because a part of me is wondering if whether or not they're going to give any red stars for him for free. They've done this in the past, sort of with like Ultron, I believe, when he had a rework for the Masters of Evil. And so I'm wondering if they'll do this again. They've been chucking out red stars and diamonds in general for other rework characters, so I am wondering if they're going to do that here. And I don't want to go and buy his red stars from the Elite store and then have them do an event later on that I'm going to be really mad about because I spent my precious DPCs on. So this is something I'm keeping an eye on, particularly Spider-Man Big Time. Vulture, for me, it's not much for me anyways. It's not much for me to go the extra mile here on 105. And for these characters, Shocker and Vulture, I'm going to be using in raids. So this is kind of like a must-have build. So before you feel too overwhelmed, and I admit it's a lot of stuff, I think we need to start by prioritizing what exactly we're going to be doing. So that means that you're going to be building most definitely the Insidious 6 first, because you need to for the raids, plus Vulture and Shocker. That's where I would start, right? The 3 new characters in the team, plus Vulture and Shocker. It's a mandatory raid team that's going to be required for the Annihilation raids later on, and that's where everyone needs to start. Now, after that, I guess it depends on what your priorities are, right? I prefer war offense to war defense. That because I get to use them. That being said, I am not in a good position for Secret Warriors. It did look when we took a look in the other video for what's his name again? Phantom Rider. Like his kit looked pretty good. Even standalone looked pretty good. Actually, what I was most impressed about was his passive, on turn, AoE for 325% on his turn, right? Clear all charge. Like, this sounds crazy, actually. So I'm kind of in on turn awakened. If any charges were cleared, he'll sell for 10%. So I'm curious how he is going to play out on a standalone basis. But as far as me being able to level up the Secret Warriors, like, I have a lot of gold. Don't get me wrong, but even I am going to be broke after doing this for this many characters. Like, the amount of resources that you need, this is an absolute killer for any newer players, mid-game players, hell, even like non-veteran end-game players, because this is a lot to do. So do I want to do the Secret Warriors because I'm so far behind on them? I don't know, right? I'm leaning more towards no. Also, I mentioned this in the previous video, but I want to reiterate this again, and maybe I should have done this up front, that as far as I'm aware, Secret Warriors and Infestation are not a Chapter 2 Conquerors team. Insidious 6 are. So when it comes to using them on Blast Stars, events, and things like that, I don't think that they're going to be there. Will there be another, like a Pocket Dimension or a Tower or something like that that uses them? Maybe. I don't, we don't know anything yet. There's a possibility, of course. But as far as where I want to put my resources into, I heard that so I'm not going to be leveling any of these in advance because I don't know who's going to get dropped anyways. Infestation is something that I did in the past. If anyone's been following me for more than like 2 years, then you might have known that Infestation is a team that I actually built up. Hence, you can see why I have a Swarm at 95, G18, but it's been a while, right? So this might be something that I might do just because the bar for me is a lot lower than what it is for Secret Warrior. So I could take Spider-Man Big Time, 100 to 105 is not a big deal. Swarm, probably Black Widow, and then Scorpion because I'm going to be forced to build, and then I need to figure out who of these is actually staying on the team. Like, this is something that'll cost me significantly less than what Secret Warriors will do. But overall, and maybe I could take Green Goblin Classic and Doc Ock to 105 just, because, right? And have some fun with that. But I think at this point in time, what I'm not really happy about, I guess, is this, and I guess it sounds like I made that clear, is the Secret Warriors part. Because there's a lot of these that are just right at the bottom of the roster, and most people would have them at the bottom of the roster anyways. So this is a really big ask in just such a short amount of time, right? I want to reiterate that these are all characters that are probably going to be needing to be upgraded within a 1 month time period. We're talking about the month of September. And so that is way more than we got, right? And we're still kind of knee deep in Hellfire Club as well. So some people may not have finished upgrading their Hellfire Club. I just unlocked a Zazel today, but some people might be still leveling up their Madeline and their Emma. And then we have, of course, the rest of the Hellfire Club still coming out. And then we're working on this, and all of a sudden they drop like 10 plus 14, 15 characters that need to be considered in September. It's overwhelming, I think. And if you feel that way, you're not alone, because I think it's a bit crazy. Also, I need to consider, do I need to finish upgrading my Moon Knight and Agatha to 105 for the Annihilation raids coming out on Friday? Like, there's a lot, even for me, that I'm like, where do I begin? And I think where I would put that in, or where I would start, and I kind of said that before, is raids. Raids is something that you do every single day. And so this is where I would start. For the majority of players, start with your Annihilation raid characters. Make sure that you're able to do the raids every single day come Friday. And obviously, I'm going to do a video on that. You know what I'm going to do on Friday? I'm going to try to sim every single node with the characters that I have. So that way I can see whether or not I need to upgrade them any further. Maybe there's some RNG on the Sims. I don't know. But I want to see what is possible. And I do think it's funny that we can go straight to the top difficulty. I feel like people are going to say they're bored in day one. But we'll see what ends up happening on that. I just wanted to go over this a little bit because, yeah, it's a lot of resources that they're asking people to shell out over the next little while or next month and so on. And I'm kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are in the comments down below. Are you feeling a little bit overwhelmed as well? What's your priorities? I don't get me wrong. I am excited for these changes to the Sinister 6, but it's everything else on the side, I think, that is more than just the Sinister 6 update. It's all of these characters, and I think it's a bit more than a lot of us asked for. But that's just me. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys all on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.